Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Justin Kasey Juarez, and my middle name is spelled Kasey. And I'm 27 years. Oh no, I'm 26 years old, and I was born on October 31st, 1996, in Brackenridge Hospital in Austin, Texas. My mom was I'm gonna start this off, I guess, you know, I wanted to make a book, but it just um you know I've almost lost my life so many times. Like, I should have known better than to at least take a long time trying to write a book or something. So I'm gonna just try to do this while I got this cool little backdrop. I'll be moving out in October, so hopefully I'll have my art set up cool, but how it is now. But this is a $15.4 million piece, and these are each $2 million pieces, and they come with a NFT that you basically get whitelisted on, and those NFTs are going on the Solo Genic Dex network for a lot. I forgot how much, but a lot. So you get one of those for free, and then when you buy one of my art pieces. So this is gonna be like my biopic journey, whatever video. Uh, and I tried to plan out a book, so I kind of got a glimpse of how I want to start this, and so I'm just gonna start it off with a little bit of backdrop of before me. So my grandma Vicky, who is right there, she died on last year. Not like this last year's Easter, but last year's Good Friday. And she was cremated on Easter. And you know I never really lost anybody like that in my life, so I didn't really understand it. And I only really got to spend 7 months, and a lot of those days I was working, so the time that I got to spend with her, I truly valued it. And you know I didn't really understand at the time, but you know my tia Yolanda says that whoever planned the funeral, which was somebody or somebodies, didn't use the funds correctly. So you know I pray that if that's true, then those people be reprimanded. And I'll look up the definition of that later. um but so my grandma Vicky was born on a cotton field in southeast Texas, or southwest Texas. And my her mom was born on a cotton field, and she worked on that cotton field till she was 65 years old. And my grandma, who was her daughter, ended up leaving the cotton field with some older men at the age of 15 and went to California. And I guess later came back to her mom, I believe. And they ended up being able to secure things going on. And My great grandma was clubbing at the age of 65, you know. So and she was pulling dudes, I guess. So says my grandma. So but I got to spend time with my great grandma, you know. There's some days where she would watch me, and I remember one time I released her parrots. She had these parrots, and it was like so funny. Um, it was really nice. She had these older dolls that scared me. You know, and it was her closet. Her closet was full of all these old dolls that scared me. I was like, oh no, and so, but that was like probably later on in my life, because when I was younger, I was watched by Lena. Um, but yeah, so that's my great grandma and my grandma. My grandma, like last year or so, or the year before last, I forget. I got to like stay with her for 7 months. Because you know, I just, I, I've been getting kicked out because of my mom's mental issues since I was like 13. And I could finally say that because she's only finally like found her own happiness by finding her counselor and helping her find happiness. Although I've been in 5 psych wards and 4 rehabs, and this all started to prove to my mom that I was a normal person. But my so I was able to stay with my grandma for 7 months because I came back to Austin from Tulsa and I had bought a car. So, I was able, because I had been homeless, in downtown Austin. I was in an abandoned truck in East Austin, like literally, like there's Givens Park in East Side, and I was on 12th Street at this like hippies people's trailer home. They had like a yellow bus and a abandoned truck and tiny shed in the back, and like bajillion-dollar houses next door and shit. It was crazy. Like it was a long time ago too, which was crazy. Like, but I was there in an abandoned truck, like, and I didn't even think about going to my grandma's because it just never was an occurrence to me. You feel me? Like because my mom like told my uncles and stuff that live, they don't even live near my grandma. Like basically they like, I don't even know, but one of them lives near my grandma. The other one just like roams around. But she had told like them and stuff to like not let me go to my grandma's. For whatever reason, she was able to explain to them. But my grandma had an empty room all these years I was homeless and stuff. Um, and So, because I would buy weed, from my uncle sometimes while I was homeless. And, never once did they say, like, oh, your grandma got an empty room, And my grandma told me this. She was like, yeah, I had this empty room. And, your mom told everybody, like, not to, like, do that. And I guess she had my phone number at one point, but somebody erased it off her phone, And, it's just, you know, it wasn't nobody's fault but my mom. Uh, so I was out there, literally, and my grandma, I was able to stay with her for 7 months, and it was like the greatest 7 months ever because I had never met nobody in my life that like just never like made fun of me, or try to make me feel some type of way about myself. That just truly loved me, and truly enjoyed me being around. I never had that in my life. So it was just very great, you know, and it was very great. I really enjoyed those moments that I had with my grandma. You know, even though she talked really slow, it was still awesome because it was just like she didn't expect nothing from me. She believed in me. Because I was always working. I was always working for my clients and stuff. I was doing yard work or painting. Just doing something. Making money. I was buying like a steak, cooking it in the air fryer, and making a smoothie with my NutriBullet. And that was my life. And my grandma, she was the most amazing woman ever, I believe. And you know, so that was my grandma, and maybe I'll get back into her later. But I never really had love like that in my life, and I think she only stayed alive like just to tell me the truth, uh, which was that you know, like I said, I'd been getting kicked out since I was 13, um, and through those years, uh, I was also being blamed for my parents' relationship problems. So every time my parents were having like an argument or something, you know, like at the time, I didn't know they were having an argument. You know, I didn't know what was happening, at the time. I only found this out because my grandma stayed alive long enough to tell me that my parents were my stepfather for sure was having affairs on my mom, but I could probably assume that my mom probably would have did the same to my stepfather, just being as heartless as she is. I don't know, but so I just think they're having, so basically, yeah. So all the relationship issues they were blaming on me, their whole years and stuff, because of the affairs, and then my stepfather's failed businesses and shit. You know, he spent like all this wasted time and energy and money, like doing these failed businesses, and you know what? He ended up finding his calling after 13 years by doing the same thing he'd been doing the whole time, and what his friend has been doing the whole time, probably telling him he should do it. But he's out here doing all these things, getting screwed over by his friends. They're probably just plotting, because also my grandma just made it apparent to me at that time that, my mom was working the whole time, so, I could feel bad for her and stuff, but I choose not to, because, it's just what it is, it's just what it is. He used her, for whatever his purposes was. He just wanted to be a soccer star. He was a soccer star out there in Morocco and stuff. So he was just like, oh, I'm going to be the soccer star. And my mom didn't even want him. My mom wanted his brother. But his brother was like, oh, I got my brother, in Morocco, and so, I don't know. But, it was just a quick decision. I feel like my mom could have done better, so whatever happens, happens, Um, it's whatever, I really don't mind or whatever. Everybody's seen the truth now, I believe. And like it's just whatever. But so my grandma's an amazing person. I love her very much. My great grandma was an amazing person. I love her very much. Both of them were born on cotton fields. And my grandfather, he was born on a cotton field. So these are the ones that make up my mom. So my grandma and my grandfather were born on cotton fields from my mom's side. And his parents came from Spain. No, his parents' parents came from Spain to Mexico, and then they he came to America, and he was on a cotton field, and then he was a janitor for Chase Bank, and they had a 401k for him or something like that was supposed to be given to my grandma because she was legally still married to him, and ended up going to people who deceived my grandma. So I think and they just lied to her, just like with everything else. But it doesn't matter. She's in heaven, and she's a great spirit, so I know she went to heaven. So, she's as free as she's ever been in her whole life, I believe, and I'm very thankful for that. As much as it hurts me in my fleshly body, I'm okay with it because at least she stayed alive long enough to save my soul. Because I just believed I was destined to be bad. I believed that, I was the reason for my parents' relationship problems. They were saying they were going to get divorced because of me. They're saying things like, it's just hard for us because of what you're doing. And, like, it's hard when you're getting kicked out and then you're getting in trouble for getting kicked out. It's just, it's an ever revolving door and you can't escape it. I escaped it one time with my friend. He saved me. And his mom was gonna keep me, and, my mom had kicked me out. I think I was like 15 at the time. No, I was around 16. And my mom kicked me out. And, like, my friend's mom was like, no, you're not gonna, keep on living like this, And she was gonna keep me. And then my mom ended up calling the cops on her. And they came and, like, took me. And, so I couldn't escape it. And, it's just what it was. And so my grandfather, he was a good guy. And he was a hardworking man. And he had a lot of children with different baby mamas. And he was a gentleman. He always wore pants. He didn't even hug his daughters. Just a very formal Christian, I believe, Catholic man, maybe. And, I just have glimpses, So when I was a baby, so let me just start off before I was even, before my grandfather passed. I'm going to just start this as far back as I can. So my biological father, his name is Jojo David Taylor. And that's his legal name, Jojo. Jojo. And he's a pretty big guy, I saw his record one time and pretty sure he was like pretty tall and giant. And, I just always remember, like, I only seen him one time in my life when I was like 4. We took a DNA test. Uh, I just remember like seeing this fucking giant, but I didn't know who he was, so like, I just was fucking playing my Game Boy. So I was like, what the fuck? But he had 46 criminal charges on him when I was in middle school. And then when I was around 18, I was like on the street. Like I was homeless 3 weeks of my last month of high school, and I came back on the last 3 half days and graduated. So then I graduated and went to my graduation, and then I was homeless again. you know so, and then it just sucks because JoJo, he got out of prison when I was 18. No, he got out when I was like 23. He got out of prison, and he called me one time when I was 18. But I was just thugging it, and I wasn't trying to listen to him. And then he called me when I was 23. Well, I mean, I was thugging it because you know I graduated. I was homeless again. It just, I had to, you know then people, I met people too. So I mean, I was thugging it, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna say I was homeless. I was homeless, but I was thugging it. So, but either way, it don't matter. Uh, so he called me when I was 23, and he got out of prison, and he was in El Paso at a halfway house, and it just sucks because he was able to go to his parents' house, like in between Austin and Lockhart, like, and stay there after he got out of his halfway house. Like, I'd been, I just, people don't understand. They don't understand. So I'm gonna have to make this video because, I know it looks nice and stuff on the outside, but nobody understands. So I don't got the time to make a book. Like, I don't. Like, my life is just trying to move on, and I just pray that I become smarter every day and meet the people I'm supposed to. But just until those things, I just can only try. I can only try to make it happen. So I do my best, whatever. So JoJo, whatever. His parents, I Facebook friended them, but so he hit me up when I was 23. It's like, whatever. I believed him. I was like, all right, we could be, friends and talking buddies. So, then, so I Facebook added him and his parents, and it was cool. I was talking to him, we're talking, and then he met like this lady, and he was like, oh, you got a half sister too, because I knew I had a half brother, and that's a weird story too. But I didn't know I had a half sister. But he was like, yeah, it's like this lady in Dallas and stuff, whatever. So like he ended up, like, I guess, falling in love with the lady again. And but he never like responded to my calls anymore. He didn't pick me up my calls anymore. It's just like, man, it sucks. But so I left it like that, and I just unfriended all of them because it just hurt my feelings. So yeah, he had 46 charges. A lot of them were like crack cocaine charges. He was like a giant crackhead, basically. The one that struck me out was he had theft from a corpse on his charges. And I had asked him about that when I was 23. I was like, well, I had saw on your charges that it said you had a theft from a corpse. And he was like, oh, man, they just try to throw anything on you when they can. Like, and yeah, I just, that was something that, they misinterpreted and everything. And I was like, oh, like, I don't know. I ain't gonna say nothing, but I had to ask him. But so yeah, that's him. That's his parents, and he wasn't at my conception, my true birth date. So my last name is Juarez, which I guess is fitting because he wasn't in my life. So yeah, I'm born October 31st, 1996, 11:26 a.m. Check my chart. I don't care. We can hack my shit. I don't care. We're all gonna die. It's whatever. Born in Brackenridge Hospital. My mom's 17 years old. My grandma said don't give her no drugs, because she needs to learn her lesson. My biological dad's not there. Nobody, I think some family members are there maybe. I know my grandfather's there. And I'm born, I'm born, and then 2 weeks later, I saw The Exorcist in the movie theater. And then also, my mom told me this crazy story where, like, so we lived in Lockhart, but my grandma lived in the east side of Austin. But before that, like, my grandma's family, like, I guess ran amok in San Marcos. So, but she was in the east side at this time, and it was like back in the day. So my mom was like doing laundry at this laundromat over there, and she said this lady like started talking to her and stuff, and my mom didn't know if I was gonna be a boy or a girl. So the birthday shower was like unisex stuff, so it was like yellow and green clothes, whatever, I forgot. And so this lady starts talking to my mom, and my mom's like, this lady's like, oh, you need to meet my brother Teddy, like, he would love to meet you. And so like my mom, I guess, sets up a meeting with this lady and her brother Teddy. And so my mom was in the east side in the projects, and so this lady and her brother come to the house, and my mom says that, so it was my Theo Chris and my Theo Jacob in the house. And they were like these kind of like, thuggish looking Mexican dudes. So I don't know if they intimidated the lady. I don't know what their plan was. But my mom says that the lady and her brother walked in. They said hello. They walked in and they just like stared at me. My mom says for 5 minutes. So I don't know how truly long that really means. But she says they stared at me for like 5 minutes and then they just like left. And I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I was like, maybe they were trying to kidnap me or something. Maybe they were gonna like, I don't know. But maybe they thought I was a girl. I don't know. So that was just a weird story from my, like, I'm trying to go from the beginning, like before I can remember. So yeah, And then, I just remember, riding in the back of the car, in my car seat, and just like people in the car, like a lot of people in the car. I just remember like bouncing my head to want to be a baller, like at nighttime, it was just a vibe, bro. Like, I was just like, I want to be a. It was just so lit, you feel me? Like, I just remember that, and then I remember like my tia Bo, uh, she would like, I don't know how many times. I just remember like, you know, I hung out at one of her friends' house or something, and like she finally remembered. I think she said it was probably her Panamanian friends or something, but they were like all in their panties, and like my tia Bo was like a cheerleader in high school, I guess, and so like, but like there's at least like 7 girls in their panties and bras. Like, I don't know, remember if their bras were on, but I know for sure they're in their panties, and I was just like in between all of them, like, but they didn't touch me in any bad way, and they didn't like, I was just there hanging out with girls, like it wasn't nothing weird or anything, and they didn't, because the reason why I say that is because I was sexually assaulted by females in my family. So, and I know that's overlooked a lot because, I'm a guy and, it's like whatever, but I know for a fact that I didn't like girls at the time because I was a kid and I was running away from girls every single day after school. Because after school at the daycare, when I was like in kindergarten, uh, it was like the after school daycare, and every single day I had just like there was a pack of girls that would chase me down every single day. There was one, she was this blonde girl named Brownie, and she was the one that ended up kissing me. She was like the ringleader of them all, and then they were like they would just chase me down every single day, and nobody would stop it, and then I went behind the counselors. There's 2 counselors sitting at the dang table, and I went behind them. And I was like hoping, that would deteriorate these girls from, doing whatever they planning on doing whenever they caught me. And I mean, like, and there's like other kids like just enjoying their lives. Like, I don't even remember the other kids. Like, I don't even remember the other kids because the whole dang time I'm getting chased by girls. Like, but they were living their lives. They were doing their thing. They were playing and having fun. And I'm over here, like, running away from girls. So I didn't like girls at the time, But I'm just saying, like, there's a difference between, like, okay, I'm hanging out with, like, 7, girls in their underwear and stuff. And they're not, like, touching me or making me do anything that's weird. That's okay. Okay? That's normal. That's, like, okay. Like that'd be okay if we were related and that happened, like, okay, but so I'm just saying, there's a difference between a girl sexually assaulting me and me and a girl just doing normal things, and so and so yeah, that happened. And so at that time period, it was in Lockhart, Texas. But I'm gonna make a part 2 right now while I upload this one. So stay tuned.